Hey, what's up with the internet? Your boy's back this time with a vid on Xaku. Xaku recently got a Prime released, as you can see, looking pretty swag, and the Discord's been clamoring for me to make a vid, so of course. If you want my opinion, Xaku is pretty good. Not great, but definitely a solid frame, I'd say. But pretty good, pretty good. They have exactly 4 things going for them, if you ask me. One of them is a 75% dodge chance, that is basically up at all times, because you're in the spectral form at all times. From the Vast Untime her 4 there. As long as you're looking like this, you'll have a 75% dodge chance. And I'm pretty sure that's also a 75% DR to AoE as well. So that's pretty helpful. There are better defensive abilities in the game, but you know, it's definitely nice to have. And okay, moving on. I have to demonstrate this by spawning people. The main next thing that Xaku is going for them is the gaze ability, which you can just pop on here and it sets up a deployable on any enemy that you put it on. And what it does is in this AoE around it, as you can see, there's a fairly sizable AoE that gets spawned. Oops, I went out of bounds. What happens is any enemy within that AoE has no defenses. They have no armor or they have no shields, which is pretty good, as it turns out. You know, enemies having defenses prohibits or inhibits your ability to kill them. So turns out stripping all their armor is pretty good. And you can have 2 of these set up at once if you just, you know, pop it. It doesn't stack, unfortunately, so if you don't have like a full armor strip from 1, you can't get it by like stacking 2. But other than that, it's just like for coverage. If you can only have 2 at once. If you try and cast another one, the first one just, you know, goes away. So there you go. The other main thing that they have going for them is the gun stealing auto turret ability. This is like pretty much the main thing Xaku is going for them. Turns out this is actually quite damaging when it's not like super beefy enemies like this. I guarantee you, when used in practice, this does actually kill enemies. And it scales with enemy levels as well, so if it works even better for like super high level content. If you're like hitting like level cap enemies, these things will start shredding. And the final other thing that Xaku is good at is just a niche thing. This ability here, this can actually break boxes, that AoE. And that is actually, as it turns out, the largest range AoE in the game for doing that. So if you need something to break boxes with, be a crate opener, Xaku is my pick for that. If I ever need argon crystals, I know who I'm reaching for. Alrighty, let's just jump right into his builds now, why don't we? I'm not even going to bother explaining the rest of his kit, because I honestly don't think it's particularly relevant to how he plays in practice. Let's just start with the archon shards. I'm rocking 3 yellows for convenience and to grease the wheels, basically. The cast speed shard is very to taste. You could definitely drop this if you want. I just like it on pretty much every frame, quite honestly, just because, well, not every frame, but many frames, just because it just makes your abilities feel way less laggy, and it's quite noticeable. So it just feels nice. But yeah, you could drop this. It's nice for shield gating too, but honestly, it doesn't happen that often that your shield breaks, so. Anyway, next though, I would say maximum energy on spawn is pretty darn good. You do generally wind up starting each mission by casting a bunch of shit to like get the guns and set up your gaze and your Vast Untime, so it's definitely helpful to have a bunch of energy for that, especially if you're using a blind rage build like I currently am. And then effectiveness on energy orbs is also just helps grease the wheels with the energy economy. I have found that using 2 of these is basically like using an energize, but like slightly more consistent, I guess. So having 1 of these is like half an energize, which is pretty good too. You could definitely drop this for another one if you the cast speed shard for another one if you needed even more energy economy, or put an equilibrium or something, but we'll get to that. And the other 2 are just strength shards. Xaku does really like their strength. Xaku also has 2 different strength breakpoints that you do want to hit. The main one is actually for gaze here. To get this 100% defense reduction, you need to have 200% strength, because it's only a 50% defense reduction at base. So you definitely want to hit 200% strength in order to get that full strip, but that's not too hard to do. You can just get that with Molt Augmented if you really need to. This one already overcaps on strength by quite a bit. And the other like meme breakpoint is the Vast Untime. If you get 400% strength, you get a 100% slow, but that's a fucking meme, so don't worry about that. Alright, let's explore the builds now, why don't we? The mod page is very simple, like conceptually, it's just cranking range pretty much to max, making sure you hit the 200% strength breakpoint, and getting more strength beyond that, because more strength is good. And then just making sure you have a decent energy economy with Primed Flow in Arcane Energize. And then also, the survivability is, in addition to the dodge chance, just using Brief Respite and Augur Reach and the low efficiency to immediately give back all our shields the moment we cast 4. And combined with just like killing everybody constantly with your 2, and just having a 75% dodge chance up, and sometimes also some Carnis carapace shenanigans, because I have 2 out of 3 of the set bonus on here anyway, and this helps your defenses as well if you're doing Arca Titron heavy slams. That can also help your survivability, but in general, yeah, you just want to make sure you crank your range and strength. And one of the reasons you want to crank your range is because the Grasp of Luck here, for some reason, the max targets, that the number of guns is what that means, that it can summon, that scales with range. I don't know why, it seems more like a strength stat to me, but it does mean that if you want to have good damage output with this particular ability, you do definitely want to crank range. It also has a pretty low range in and of itself. Like, as you can see, 22.4 M with absolutely max range is really not that great. It's also line of sight, so these guns aren't going to be like sniping people across the map by any means, so it's another reason you want good range. In addition, also to Gaze's area, of the armor strip, the defense strip, that is also not that great range, so you do want to increase that nicely as well. It's decent, but it leaves something to be desired as well. And then beyond that, it's pretty much just picking your helminth ability, honestly. And for that, unfortunately, I have to give the gold star to Roar, because it is the only helminth ability in the game that actually increases your gun damage. And that's basically the whole point of this build, is just souping up your Grasp of Luck to gun damage as much as possible. By gun damage, I mean Grasp of Luck, not like your primary. Although it does also soup up, all your other weapons too, Amusingly, Xatu's Whisper does not synergize with your guns, your floating bullshit guns, and unfortunately that makes it just a bad ability for Xaku, which seems odd, because you'd think they'd make his own thing synergize with his own thing, but they didn't, so, Roar it is, unfortunately. He already gets, like, full armor strip from Gaze here, so, I mean, if you just want to deal the most damage with your guns and just sit there and, have his abilities kill people, the Roar is the best way of doing it. It is what it is, unfortunately. As for the general build, you can see I have 2 here. It's the same on almost all of these. It's just, there's a flex slot here, basically. You can pick whatever you want here. I like Cunning Drift to just completely max out the range, although you could put that in the Exilus as well, because I'm much like a Nightmare Frame here. I'm very prime sure-footed pilled, but I guess that's the taste. Although this is a shield gating build, so I think that's another reason you should actually use prime sure-footed, but yeah, anyway. You can do lots of other things here in this slot, like you could use Augur Secrets, or Vigilante Pursuit, or Rolling Guard, or Transient Fortitude, or Carnis Carapace, as I was saying earlier. Protein use Energy Nexus, I don't recommend that. But yeah, that's those are the mods, and that's the best helminth ability. But for other helminth ability options, I would say Pull is also decent. I tried out Pull because the idea being, well, if your Gaze armor denial shit is going to be stationary and my guns don't have very long range, well, I'm going to need to pull enemies to me constantly. That, or I'm going to have to jump around constantly resetting up Gaze. And that's really annoying and more energy hungry. Pull is quite cheap. And this does actually work pretty well. It obviously doesn't like pull overguard enemies or anything. And it's a little janky and you don't get the damage that you would from Roar. But it does work pretty well. You can also just spam Magus Anomaly with Roar too, although I don't think the guns actually shoot when you're in operator mode, but that seems to work about as well too. So I don't know, it's I probably wouldn't really use this over the Roar build, but it is worth considering, I would say. And then the other like main one that I could also use, like, as you can see here, by the way, these are just the same mod pages pretty much. I'm just using Augur Secrets for these. And the other one is Ophanim Eyes from Jade Subsume. This is for the maximum floating bullshit build. So you can have both floating guns over your head and floating armor strip that also slows enemies down. This it's good for your defense. It's good for not having to constantly recast Gaze. It just allows you to sort of run around, let your guns do bullshit, which is at the very least funny. But it is clearly not as effective as just having Roar up and recasting Gaze, because that's an instant armor strip and like double damage from Roar. So, oh, also, yeah, I didn't put it over Xata's here. I just literally replaced Gaze with it. But I think after having tried it, you probably should just replace Xata's. It's probably better to have the redundancy and also be able to use Gaze. But that's just my opinion. I really don't think Xata's very good. But anyway, there's also 2 other main builds. One I actually use because it's a niche use. As I was saying earlier, if I need to like find Argon crystals or something, I just pop this build and I run into the Void Capture mission. You can also throw down Golden Instinct for helminth to just like find more loot. It's a very simple build. It's also just maxing range. I think you might need to have over 100% strength to like guarantee every kind of crate gets killed. You check the tapes on that. I'm not totally sure. but I try to make sure I have over 100 anyway, but it's usually I get that from the archon shards anyway, so it's whatever. This is just a basic build for energy economy, seeing loot, having max range, so yeah. Nothing much to write home about there. And the only other one is a meme build. I would not use this, quite frankly. It's just because I figured, well, 400% strength breakpoint for the vast on time for the 100% slow, which, as you can see, I'm not actually hitting here immediately. You do actually have to stack up Molt Augmented or hit growing power or something. But once you do hit that 400% breakpoint, you get a 100% slow from this, and your Pillage full strips. And with that, you no longer need gaze, although I will say, much as I said earlier, it probably would be better to just place it over Xata's Whisper, honestly. So you have to spam. This is not a very good build, honestly, because I had to cut range in order to get. I had to drop overextended, basically, because it was taking too much strength away. But then when you do that, like, you cut the amount of guns you have significantly, and they have shit range. So and then you have to cast Pillage all the time, too, and the energy economy is rough for that. So this is a meme build. I honestly would not use it at all. But yeah, if you want a good build, I would say one of these two is the one I would go for personally. And I think that's it when it comes to Xaku builds. I will say also, as usual, it's nice to have a Grimoire on any build that's like revolving around your ability damage, because you can like soup up your strength with a snapshot here. It's especially useful for Xaku actually, because his snapshots can last a very long time. I should also note, I neglected to mention this so far, since his 2 does scale off of enemy levels, you have to like refresh it to actually like have it keep up with enemies as they scale. So and unfortunately you can't refresh it if it's already up, and it doesn't even expire if your vast on time is up, which leads to a weird anti-synergy where you literally have to like spend some time outside of your vast on time in order to just let your guns expire so you can take some new ones that are higher level. Which is kind of awkward, which technically means you should probably devalue duration a little bit, because it has anti-synergy. The longer the duration, the longer you have to stay outside of your vast on time, which is kind of cringe. But yeah, just a little tidbit there, so y'all have an optimization. Anyway, yeah, and you can also have Carnis mods, which will help out, as mentioned earlier. These will, reduce enemy accuracy against you, which helps your dodge chance even more. Although I think it's like multiplicative or something. I don't know how they stack exactly, but it's definitely not 100%. It seemed to be more effective than like just like multiplicative. I very rarely got hit, but I would get hit. So I don't know. It seems a little odd. But that's only with the full set. Like I said, you can put Carnis Carapace into your main Xaku set if you want. And here's the new Arca Titron build if you're curious. Here's the Riven I'm using, but you can just replace that with your own crit thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, also, before I forget, I forgot to mention companions. Panzer is always good for the viral spreading, but you could also just switch to a huras Kubro, because that will give you stealth, in addition to the good old resourceful retriever mod now. Used to be, there was a sentinel that does it too, but might as well get extra loot now. So yeah, stalk here will turn you invisible, and as long as you don't shoot your gun or use your melee weapon, you'll be invisible. And seeing as you can just sort of stand in an area and have your guns kill everybody, that does seem pretty good for Xaku's general playstyle and what he wants to do. But I'm just gonna stick to good old Panzer. And let's jump into the Circulus demo now, why don't we? Alrighty, let's get it. First things first, I'm not even gonna bother popping any skills or anything. Just gonna start this shit up. Bash these guys with a hammer, because I don't want to waste energy on these guys. But once we get into the swing of things, yoink these guys' guns, take a vast on time, maybe another yoink. Yeah, there we go. Let's get some energy back there. Pop a roar, perhaps. We still haven't set up gaze. Alright, let's pop this guy with the gaze. Oh, nope, that's an accuse. Fuck, shit. See, I hate that. I really wish it would default to gaze. You always have to swap it one time first. And unfortunately, the guns won't even shoot at the accused guys, because they count as on your team. I never mention what it does. It's just a fucking like AoE mind control. Mind control is pretty bad in this game, so not a ability that I really give a shit about. If you're wondering, his other ability is Deny, which shoots a fucking laser. Pew! But that is also fucking useless, so don't bother doing that. Basically, just keep your 4 up and fucking murder guys with. See, as you can see, the guns shoot guys and it kills them good, but it only kills them real good if you reduce all their armor with gaze. Then it kills them pretty nicely, especially when you pop your roar, and there we go. Now it murders them real nice. And if you can combine that with just like slamming around an Arca Titron or something, then you're gonna have a pretty easy time both surviving and killing enemies. This is a pretty good build I found for just like general purpose increasing your kills per minute, you know? Because these guns will just take care of some guys for you. I have neglected to set up my thing this whole time, haven't I? There we go. There we go. Now these guys are dying good. But yeah, as you can see, obviously I don't have to shield gate very often. I just have to make sure my areas are set up. And it kind of just solves itself. Of course, with more enemy adversity, you know, it might get a little dicier, but I mean, kind of speaks for itself. It's doing fine now. That's pretty much the whole playstyle. You just make sure to keep your shit up and, you know, run around letting your guns do everything. As mentioned earlier, it's kind of annoying that, like, you have to get close to enemies and, like, sort of constantly recast gaze. As you can see, like, none of those guys were stripped. But, you have the energy economy for it once you got your engine going, and it's pretty simple. Again, you do actually kind of want to let your Vast on time run out sometimes, just so your guns will expire and you can get new ones. But that's significantly less relevant in like a game mode like this, where the enemies scale up in levels very slowly. So, I mean, it's more of a thing like if you're playing Circuit or like Void Cascade or something, you know, something that goes to high levels. Also, you can, yeah, it's very hard to see up there, but there's a Carnis set bonus I'm getting when I slam people for 4 seconds. It's 6 seconds if you complete the set. Makes it even harder to fuck with me. And obviously, as you can see, the Arca Titron has more than enough power. It does not, especially with Roar, it does not need the slot that you're wasting on the Carnis mode, so it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's try and find a more fun tile. Oh, I lost my guns because I let them run out, but that's a good thing, because now there will be more powerful guns. Hooray. But, yeah, unfortunately, I'm being cursed by boring tiles right now. Oh, my shields ran out. I pressed 4 and it fixed it. See, it's a very huge shield regen you get. As long as you're, like, relatively used to the concept of shield getting, you're not gonna have a problem. And, you know, that's pretty much, like, what else is there to say? It's a good frame in general, but not my favorite, because this, I don't know. There's better frames for killing, and there are better frames for surviving, but he's cool, you know? It's got floaty bullshit, and you don't have to do much. You can kind of just stand there. Yeah, in fact, maybe we'll just stand here for a little bit, see how that goes. Oh, and it's kind of funny. It does kill the acolytes pretty good. The guns themselves. Oh yeah, I didn't even have them all. I need more. I'm almost out of energy, actually. I gotta kill some more dudes. Let's see. Where's Torment? Torment didn't die as good. Well, normally Torment, I think they get armor stripped nicely, but yeah, I didn't have it set up. Nor did I have the energy. That's one of the downsides to a blind rage build. You do have to be careful about your energy sometimes. Which is why, you know, you do want to, like, gallivant around a bit. And slam people with your hammer instead of, like, relying on your abilities to do everything. And, of course, you have to wait for fucking energized procs, which sometimes can be rare. Although it shouldn't be, because it's 60%. But, you know, coin flips be coin flips. Even if they're, you know, weighted in your favor. Alright, I was contemplating cutting it in the last, like, minute and a half, but I did find something to ramble about until then, so guess we'll just wait until, the good old Thrax spawn, and show them the exit. Show them the door. And that will be in 20 seconds. And, I guess we'll just admire this thing's ability to kill enemies as they stream in. Oh yeah, I guess you can, I mentioned you can do Magus Anomaly pulling. This is with a slide attack, by the way, because, macro, because it's faster to exit that from, via using a melee attack. Well, yeah, I killed him pretty decent. That's not bad. I just wanted to see the guns do it. Let's see. Yeah, it's not great. I've seen better Thrax killing, but I mean, you know, it's just sitting there chilling, you know. It's pretty good for just sitting here chilling. Xaku is definitely a good frame for chilling. Okay. And that's the whole thing, so let's skedaddle on out of here. Did I get the... I did get the bug again, didn't I? This bug has been happening constantly. Look at this shit. I'm spamming double jump right now. And I bet if I do, like, rolls... Oh, the roll's working this time. Sometimes it's just... Yeah, it's like weighing me down or something. Whenever I've been doing this bullshit, it's been triggering it. And then sometimes I, like, literally can't get in the air high because it's, like, weighing me down. Devs, please fix that bug. It's happening literally all the time to me. But yeah. Okay, that was the mission. GG. Killed some dudes. It wasn't great, but you know, Xaku, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Those were the best builds I got for you, and the best takes I got for you. Like and subscribe if you want some more, and or liked, you know, the video. I'm not very good at this. Alright, bye!